A perfect way to add just that extra little thing to the top of your gifts, whether it be for Christmas, the holidays, or even in the summertime, is to add a bit of nature. And you can do this with real nature or paper. So the first thing I will do for this box is I've pulled some of these pieces off of my garland. And this is just so easy to do. You just tuck that in, and look how I have a pink ribbon and a gold box, and I added that twig in there, and now it just says a little bit more Christmas, right? And so easy to do. For this one here, I thought the perfect addition might be a twig of rosemary. Again, both of these smell so good, and just that added bit, these both dry out really nicely. Even if they're sitting under the tree for a few weeks, they'll still be really beautiful. You can see, remember the pink bow that I made? And I said, we're gonna make this look a bit more like Christmas. Adding 2 little teeny twigs of greenery just did the trick for that one. This box looks so luxurious, and I can see this being gifted to maybe your boyfriend or your husband. And what a perfect way to top it by adding this crepe paper mistletoe right into the bow. You can also tuck it through here. This might actually make it stay a little bit better. And then you can move these around since they are on wire so that it fits really nicely. And I'm going to hook that right in the back. Maybe you'll get a little kiss after he opens his gift, right? I honestly think that pink is probably my favorite color palette for Christmas this year. So to add a little bit more of that holiday flavor, I've cut some tiny little olive branches out of paper. And I can either just slide them in as they are, or I can use my curling tool and just run this around so that I have a bit more shape. And I think I want 2 of these. I'll place one on the top and one on the bottom. And you can put a little bit of tape on that, or even that glue dot to keep it into place. That looks a bit more Christmassy. You could also use this for a wedding gift. This box is so much fun. It's a triangle. I've used 3 different colors of this baker's twine to tie around it. Let's just keep going with all the fun and do something really different. I went out to my yard and found this little stick, and I've actually trimmed it up so that it fits the box. I'm going to go ahead and slide that right through the back of my string, and I want it in place before I finish it. And you'll see why, because once I add these pom-poms, I may not be able to slide it through without breaking them up. So I'll slide that into place, and I want to readjust my ribbon or my strings so that they all fall the way I want them. There we go. And then I'll take these little pom-poms, and one by one I'm going to add them to this twig. And I'm placing them on ends or joints, and I want to vary the color. These are actually felt balls. You can find these online. You can get them in an assortment of colors. You gotta watch out for the glue strings. And the smaller ones I might put out here on the tips. Once you have these all in place and the glue is cooled, you can go back through and pull off all the glue strings. When you're using this hot glue, you have to hold it a bit longer until it cools. A low temperature, it hardens a bit quicker. So I'm really wanting a variety of colors, the orange, the hot pink, the purple. And I think this is just a great way to wrap a gift for a tween or a teen, or even a girlfriend who has a sense of humor. So this makes a very festive gift topper. Another great felt and fiber gift topper is to add a felt flower right into your gift. And I'm just going to slide this behind that ribbon into that loop, and that adds just that little extra touch, and that's something else that they can keep. So remember the yarn? The way that we're going to finish this one off is by making pom-poms. So I've already pre-made these pom-poms. You can use a pom-pom maker, or you can use a fork. Either way, you can find different ways to make these on our website. And I'll tie all of these together. I have all the strings hanging. You'll want to leave the strings once you tie those pom-poms off. So I'm going to just do a really easy slip knot so that they all stay together. And I actually really like all of the yarn hanging down. I'm going to add that onto the gift top and just use the ties from what I wrapped around the box to tie them all together. And there's your gift topper. So simple. The last gift topper is a little bit more complicated because this is something you'll want to make ahead of time. And I have these gorgeous little ornaments. I have a monogram ornament and a heart ornament, and these are so easy just to tie right into. You can snug it behind, maybe even tape it or tie it right onto the top of your gift. I'm going to show you here. I've just wrapped it around, and then I would just add a touch of tape right there. You can add that in, or you can actually add both of them if you want to. And that makes such a pretty topper. And again, it's a gift on top of a gift. Nothing says winter season like snowflakes. So this makes a beautiful gift topper. It's simple to make. All you need is white paper. You can use any type of printer paper. In this case, this is actually a frosted paper that I'm using. It adds a little extra glow to the snowflake. So I've cut these out ahead of time with my cutting machine. You can also cut them by hand using a craft blade to get those little slits. But you want to remember one thing when you're making these is the width of your pieces from, point to point. You put two of those together, and that's actually how big your snowflake will be. So if you want a small one, you'll want to cut it a lot smaller. They're very easy. We have the tutorial on our site on how to do this. You have these cut out, and there's actually 3 layers. So I'm going to curl the inside first, and I'll place one tip on top of the other, and then just add just a dot of glue. And I'm using the hot glue, so you have to be careful with that. And then just hold it together until it's cool. Luckily, there's a hole in the back so your finger can go right through. And then the second layer, you'll flip it the other direction. Do the same thing, kind of get it in position. Add your glue dot, and then hold it together. And the third layer, you'll go the other direction. So you'll need 6 of these to make the snowflake. One right after the other. And once you have all 6 made, you'll want to go ahead and put them in a spiral. The important thing that you'll want to remember is keep it all going the same direction. So the wide edge, wide edge, wide edge, wide edge. You don't want to flip them back and forth because then it starts to look funny. You just glue the tips all the way around, and they start to form this beautiful snowflake. So that's my first 3D paper topper that I like to make. So the second topper that I really love to make are poinsettias. And this one I have cut out of a beautiful frosted lavender sort of mauve color. So I'm folding all of the petals in half, the petals and the leaves. I've cut these on the cutting machine. You can cut them by hand. I'll just fold these in half. We're gonna get some shape here, but this is such a simple topper. And it's the type of topper that you can use it again and again. And I think the person who receives the gift might even want to keep it. I have 4 layers of these in the mauve and then 1 layer in the green, and there is 6 petals each. So there's 4, and then I'll do the same thing to my green. And for this, I think I'll start at the bottom with the green and then work up. So I'll take my little curling tool. You can also use the edge of your scissors and just very gently give each side of each petal a bit of a shape. Or in this case, the leaf. All of my petals are curled. And if you stack them on top of each other, you'll notice that there's 2 that are larger. So I'm going to take the 2 smaller ones and set them aside. Then place a dot of glue on the back, and I'll offset it. We'll do the same thing with the next one. And this one I'll want it to be pretty much evenly crisscrossed, so you can see that, but you have the leaves tucking out of the back. Then for the smaller, add the dot of glue and place that right in between the larger ones, and do the same thing with the last one, so you can see every single point of each of the petals is showing. Now I have this little tiny centerpiece, and very, very carefully, so it doesn't tear, I'm just gonna roll the edge just to give it some shape so they're not all sticking straight up. And then I'll roll it, not tightly yet, it's pretty loose. Hold it in my hand, so put just a dab of glue in the center and place it right onto the glue. And for this, since I will want to use it again and again, I'll add a glue dot on the back and then place that right on top of my ribbon. I have a glue dot. I think this works better than tape. Place it on the back and this will stick right to my ribbon. And it's also removable so I can use it again. And that looks so pretty. So the last paper topper is an oldie but goodie, and I'm using this gold tissue paper, and I folded it back into itself so that I'm just going to use it exactly as it is. I know that this is the edge, so I just want to keep track of where the edge is because that will be my top. Edge is on that side, that side. Okay, so the edge is on this side. And we have a little extra here. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Then I will fold this in half. And it's not quite a square, and that's okay, and cut this, knowing still that this is my top. And I'll turn this into a triangle, a point. It works better to do 1/2 at a time. And then I have this point, and I'll go ahead and trim off the top here. I'm almost wanting to make an arch. There's so much to cut that all I'm going to do is trim it off like that, and then I'll open it up, and this is where I'm going to make little scallops. And I feel like this really makes this tissue pom-pom look a little bit more interesting. They don't have to be exact or perfect, but just having that shape really adds something. You can see it there. And some of these extra bits you can pull out. All right, then I'm folding it back in half, and I'll put a hole punch all the way through all of the layers here. And if it doesn't go through, you can open it up and do it twice, which mine's not, so I'll do it this way. At least it's marked. I know exactly where I'm going through. Okay. I'll fold it back, and then I will take some of my embroidery floss. I'll take a whole, you can use a gold ribbon as well. I don't want a whole lot of bulk there, so that's why I like the embroidery floss. Just place that right through the hole, and then I'll tie it off. So I'm going to unfold all of the layers, and I'm actually going to get to the middle. There's the middle. And I'll start in the middle and just bunch it up. This is a pretty big pom-pom, but I think it will look great on top of this purple ribbon. Go to the next layer and do the same thing. And as you can see, my layers go back and forth between the gold and the more frosted gold on the back side of the paper, and I think that looks really pretty. So the trick is you just really want to bunch it and almost pinch it down at the base, and just keep going until you have all of the layers pinched into place. What makes this work is that you get in there and you separate every single layer of tissue, and that will give you the fluff and the bulk that you want. So now I'm working on the other half, so we have 2 bunches. Depending on how your paper is folded and laid out, you might just have 1. Sometimes you'll have 2 or more. And now I'm back to the main layer, which will be the bottom. I'm going to turn it over. Again, it's about pulling all the layers apart, and the bottom one will sit pretty flat. So there is your big, huge, poofy pom-pom made out of tissue paper. And the easiest way to put that on top of your gift is just add a glue dot and then stick it right on top. To add a little extra surprise on the gifts for your kids, why not do something a bit special. And these are some of my favorite ways. We have so many of these little gift huggers on our site, and they're all made out of paper. And you can just wrap that around the ribbon as if it's holding the tie of the ribbon. You can also just maybe tuck a piece of candy in there or a little treat in there. So these gift huggers make such cute gift toppers. Another way is to use some of our ornaments that might be a bit more child looking, or even these little stuffies that we have on our site that you've made, and you can just go ahead and wrap those on and tie them on. And in this case, I used a little bobby pin to tuck it into the ribbon and then tack it on so that you can get it off really easily. And then here is our gift that we wrapped with the washi tape. And I have this adorable little mouse ornament that I purchased, and I just took the string and added the washi tape on the back and put it right over the top of the gift, so it almost makes its own bow. And this is just 3 really great ways to add that special touch for your kids' gifts. The perfect way to finish your gift is by adding a gift tag. And there are so many fun variations of things you can do, and here are some of my favorites. We offer quite a few printable gift tags on our site, and here are a few that are specific for Christmas and winter holiday. Now we do have gift tags for all year round, so go search and find the ones that really speak to you and print those out just like I did here on a cardstock. And then I will show you what I'll do with these. For this gift, it's very subtle that it's Christmas, so I wanted to put something on that said a bit more Christmas, and I'm going to choose this holiday cheer. So you can cut these out with scissors, or you can use a craft knife if you want a really nice straight cut. I'm just going to use scissors today. These are easy to cut out. They have little gray lines for you to follow. And oftentimes they'll have a spot where you can write on them, like this one says to and from. When I'm ready to wrap, I'll have all of these printed out and pre-cut and sitting in a pretty bowl so they're ready for me. Then you'll want to grab a hole punch and put a small hole right at the top. And then I often use this baker's twine. You can also use a really thin ribbon, but the baker's twine is a pretty way to add some extra color. And this one has some gold in it to match the gold gift wrap. I'll take both ends. This one's frayed, so I'll trim that down. Take both ends and slide that right through the hole. And then I'll just loop that right through like that, and it's ready to tie onto my gift. And oftentimes I'll just loop it right underneath the bows and the strings so that it stays in place in the center. If I tie it onto one of the side ribbons, it might slide down, so this keeps it in place. So that's ready to give. This gift here could be almost for any occasion year round, but I do want to add a bit more holiday to it. So I've cut out this piece and it's in gold. Go ahead and punch that hole again. You can also use a hole punch that has a bigger hole. I'll use the same gold string. There's no place to write on this gift tag, so I'll go ahead and write the name on the back. So I don't have a whole lot of room to get in there and tie it. I could, but another option is put a little double stick tape. I still like the string because it adds some sparkle and color, and just tape that right underneath so you can see the message. And there's that gift. Another fun option is to use a tag punch, and we have this tag punch from Fiskars. It actually has 2 different tag sizes. And for this little gift, I think I want to choose a pink paper. I have a variety of papers here. I have a lightweight and some cardstock. I want to do a pink gift tag. So I'll just slide that in. There we go. And do it again. And you can see 2 different little scalloped tags here. But the cool thing about this is you can slide it right into this hole. You want to make sure it's centered. I'm going to put it down on the table. Make sure it's centered in the slot. And it makes a punch. It's an all-in-one. And that one is ready to tie. I'll write my name on the tag. If you have these little gold grommets, you can also use the grommet punch right here and add that onto the gift. In this case, I'm going to use a bit of this ribbon so that it matches what I have here on the gift. I'll do the same thing. I prefer going both of the ribbons through the front rather than just one, and it just makes a prettier loop. So that way it looks like this. I'll write on the gift tag, and then I'm going to tie this one on the side right into the ribbon and actually add an extra bow. There's a lot going on this gift. So I'm adding a little bow on top of that and just making, you know, four little loops to my bow rather than 2. And I want to cut these down so it all matches. And then I want to make sure her head stays closer to the top, so I will add just a little bit of double stick there. So I'll just place that on her back and make sure she stays in place. And this is ready to give. I want to put a gift on this gift, but there's so much going on and I don't want to really interfere with the beautiful poinsettia on top. So here's a simple way that makes a really elegant tag. I have some gold frosted paper and I'm just going to cut a long strip with my scissors. Then I'm going to fold this at an angle and carefully cut a notch at the end to make the 2 points. So it almost looks like a ribbon. Now you notice one side's a little thicker than the other, and that's okay. Then you can use this with your metallic pins or whatever color, maybe a purple pen to match, and go ahead and write on that tag. I'll use some double stick tape here. I like this double stick tape. You can get a permanent or you can get the removable. In this case, I'm using the removable. That way it keeps everything really neat and you can reuse things. And I'll just tuck that right underneath my flower, and there is the gift tag. It actually fits in and it doesn't take away from anything. I love how this tag adds just a little bit more green on top of the gift. This tag gives it a definite holiday flavor, and I wrote the name right on the back. Tying the tag right into the bow adds a little bit more fun and play to the top of this gift. This tag enhances the gift rather than taking away from this beautiful paper poinsettia.